Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this video finds you, I hope it finds you in a great place. And if not, hopefully some of this video can encourage you or inspire you to get to a better point. Or maybe you know somebody who's going through something that this can be encouragement to. So I'm going to get right to it. All right. So, I came to grips with the fact that I have a habit of really desiring something, really wanting, with all my heart to have certain results. But when I do a deep dive into my actions, my actions show opposite. In other words, I've been saying for years, been for years wanting to be the change that I want to see in the world. And I saw my way of doing that by just, obviously trying to be a good person and things like that. But, mainly like, writing a book, and then even down when I got to the point where I actually got all my outline, together, got one chapter already done. There became a point in time when I realized, you know what? I still really want these results. But I just don't really feel like writing a book. I just don't feel, I don't want to literally write the book or type the book, whatever. But I still want to get that same message out there, right? And, I began to realize that, that habit, that idea, those actions that I'm not taking has affected my whole life. For example, I remember thinking about, after I had my stroke, and started trying to run, and I was beat. Like I couldn't even run no more than like 10 miles. It was crazy. Like my recovery process was crazy. And then, I started working for, a SF unit, and I wanted to, meet their goal they have with their running events where they do 5 miles in under 40 minutes. Excuse me. Yes, that is right. 5 miles in under 40 minutes. And so that was my first goal. I had already got back to the point where I was at least past my PT test, run-wise for my 2 mile, but that wasn't enough for me because I used to always max it, And now I'm giving this example because literally in every video, like, I am inspired to say the things I'm saying, and God leads me to bring these points up because I am literally holding myself accountable, and I've literally been there. I ain't just tell you something that I read in a book or something somebody told me. So what I'm saying is, I remember the point in time came where somebody thought that one day I was training for like a half marathon, and it was this lady who was at a Subway, and I remember, she told me her story. Crazy health story, and she had lost all this weight, and she was trained that was gonna be her first one that she was gonna do. And she said, "So, are you training for that also? It's this weekend coming up." And I just felt so like inspired, but at the same time, like in my mind, I'm thinking like, yeah, I may have went through something that was like what I would say is more traumatic with my recovery, but at the end of the day, like this her passion. And all the time and effort and work she put in to lose that weight and then prepare for this half marathon. I immediately told her, "Yeah, I'm gonna run the half marathon. Yeah, I'm gonna do it." I didn't know how many miles a half marathon was. Come to find out it was 13.1 miles. Now, even though I ran track and cross country in high school, I had never ran over 5 miles in my life ever, at once, ever. Now, thinking back. Maybe when I was running across country and we used to do like, hour runs and 30-minute runs, and 45-minute runs, I probably did then, but I didn't know it because I wasn't checking the time. And so anyway, I went on to do it and it broke me off. It broke me off, but here's the thing. After that, my sergeant was like, "Hey," he's like, "Brown, man, like, you ready to run a full marathon now?" Same thing. I did the same thing again. Like in my mind, I felt so encouraged and inspired. He started telling me about his runs. Shout out to Matt Sergeant Miller. And so I boom, I felt that energy and that urge inside. So I'm gonna do it. But I ain't signed up for months. I ain't signed up for months. And what I'm saying is this. There became a point in time when, I had to really push myself, and I had to, I knew I couldn't sham on the full marathon. Because when I found out it was 26, same thing, I didn't know how many miles it was. And when I found out it was 26.2 miles, I was like, hold up, man, what have I got myself into? And at the same time, I'm kind of like, God, hold on, why do I feel pulled so much to this thing that I know good and well that I want the results, but I don't want to put the effort in. I don't want to run. I don't want to have to get 10 and 15 mile runs in a training run and then go and do a 20-mile. I didn't want to do it. And so I gave those two examples because of the book and also the running thing, because at the end of the day, I realized something. From the outside looking in, and this to be straight up frank with the situation, no matter how much you desire something, no matter how much you know you might be able to do it, my actions and your actions are showing you that you really don't want it. And I realized, I'm like, you know what? I don't want it. And saying those words, I almost felt like I was lying to myself, because I'm like, no, I do want it. But at the end of the day, on paper, if you had to write down everything you've done to meet your goal, to get that promotion, to get that job, if you write on paper everything you've done and you ain't did nothing, but you put over here on the other side of the paper your goals and what you want to do and accomplish with it, on paper it's telling me that you don't want it. On paper it was showing me I don't want it. So I got there and I started getting it with the running, right? But here's the thing. I realized, I'm like, all of us in life, we have some type of goal. Whether you want to lose weight. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and they were saying, oh man, I got a kid now, and I don't have time like that. And they start and in my mind, it was like I was trying to encourage them, but I knew what I wanted to say. But I didn't want to be rude or disrespectful, so I just mostly listened. I tried to encourage them some. But the truth is, the person really didn't want it. And I'm here today to tell somebody who's watching this right now, everything, you have the talents, you have the ability, or you can build up to it. But the fact of the matter is, if you're not putting forth certain effort, then you don't want it. So what I want to do is just throw some things out there that I'm doing now that reminded me of what I could tell other people, so that they could get to that point to where they actually are going after their goal, their desire, their passion. Number one, don't focus on what was. Focus on what is. Alright? No disrespect to nobody, but I don't care if you done had a kid. I don't care if you a truck driver and you working all these hours. Listen. Then you don't want it. Because at the end of the day, don't focus on what was, focus on what is. And what I mean is, listen, we have to be able to figure out what do we have to do to meet that goal. So let's take running, for example, right? Or matter of fact, I go back to me, all right? So I know that I'm trying to get to a certain physique. We're working out. And same thing with running. I'm trying to drive down a certain run time of mine. And so at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? I have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. In other words, maybe I got to get up earlier. Maybe I have to literally cut into my personal time to make it happen. Because I know what was, but what is right now is me being able to look at what's going on and train and work like my life depends on it. Because at the end of the day, your life does. Because tomorrow's not promised. And I want to go out as a fighter and as somebody who wanted it. You know what I mean? And so, also, you got to show no fear. You got to show no fear. Like, there's been so many days I'd be like, man, I don't know if I, like, when I was training for my marathon, I was like, man, I ain't trying to run today. It's cold outside. It's raining. You got to get out there and get comfortable in uncomfortable situations, or you don't want it. Period. Or you don't want it. I'm just trying to get somebody to get to the point that they don't look back and say, man, I could have went harder. I could have, should have. Like, no. Listen, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's the problem. Right there. Something else too, we might have some good people in our corners, but we got to stop picking up people's good and bad habits. I don't have to even speak on the bad habits, but there's some people that be like, oh man, I remember when I used to be logging stuff on my Nike running app, and people like, oh man, you done like you done for the week, ain't you? You know, or for the month, you already at like 60 miles, something like that. Like, it's easy for somebody to say, oh wow, you've been doing this, you've been doing that, and actually be commending you on your effort. And in our mind, the enemy starts to play a little trick on us. And it's like, you're like, you know what, yeah, man, I have to do a lot this week. Or yeah, you know, I do got something else I want to, I do want to go to that basketball game. Or I do want to, like, and after a while, because you see somebody else who is putting in work and effort and time, you look at, they getting results or they only doing a certain amount. And then you take that and you say, you know what, well, yeah, maybe they're right. Listen, we got to stop picking up other people's good and bad habits. All right? And my thing is this, by getting comfortable in uncomfortable situations, you callous the mind. You callous your mind. Like, you gotta get hungry for it. I was talking about that in my last video. And like I said, you want to callous your mind, you know? And I'm gonna leave with this one quote that God laid on my heart. And I wrote it down right here. It's, I don't want to be the same as yesterday. So I train harder today just to make me work harder tomorrow. I say again, I don't want to be the same as yesterday, so I train harder today just to make me work harder tomorrow. I hope somebody's encouraged. As always, be blessed, be an example, be encouraged. Subscribe to the channel, send it to somebody.